Shabbat Shalom, Ak. Good seeing you on with us this morning. Now I go with us to Philippians, the 3rd chapter. We're going to look at verses 17 through 19. I want you to hold that. And I want you to go to Revelations, the 3rd chapter, verse 15 through 18. We just continue to set this foundation. And for those who are just coming on with us today, today's lesson is entitled, When is Enough Going to Be Enough? What we're talking about here right now is, what the fullness of this lesson we're going to be discussing. The things that's going on in our communities, the things that are going on in our families, in our homes, in our society, the things that we're promoting, also as well as the things that's going on in the church. Now, what we're talking about right here in this first foundational scripture that we gave you, it's the thing that's going on in the world, the thing that's going on in our communities. But now here in Philippians 3 and Revelation 3, we're going to address the things that's going on in the church and see how those things coincide and how, because they're off and we're following those things, we're off. You understand? Now look at here in Philippians 3, verse 17.
Brethren, be followers together of me, and mark them which walk so as ye have us for as example.
So Paul said right here, he said, listen, look at me, look at the people who walk like me, and use us for an example. You understand? But this is the problem that's going on in the church, ladies and gentlemen, is that those who are in the Christian church, who are actually following the Bible, who are actually following Christ and living for Christ, are considered to be evil and evil and wrong and bad and legalists. That's what they call them. You understand? So the ones that are actually still in the Christian church, that are walking in holiness, walking in righteousness, walking in love, doing what thus says the Bible, these are the ones that are considered wrong. These are the ones that are considered crazy. These are the ones that they call Jesus freaks. You understand? So Paul said, listen, use us as your example. How we live, how we do, how we act, how we approach things, this is what you need to do. Because Paul always said, follow me as I follow Christ. Verse 18.
But many walk, of whom I have told you often, and now tell you even weeping, that they are the enemies of the cross of Christ.
They are the enemies of what?
The enemies of the cross of Christ.
So Paul said, I have told you before, and now as I write this letter, I am weeping. And he's weeping, telling them what?
That they are the enemies of the cross of Christ.
They are the enemies of the cross of Christ. Peace, King. Good seeing you on with us this morning. So Paul said, I done been stressing this to you over and over, and now I'm at the point of tears that these people that you're trying to follow, that these people that you're looking up to are what?
The enemies of the cross.
They're the enemies of the cross of Christ. And ladies and gentlemen, the real reason that Christianity, the real reason that Christians are ridiculed, the real reasons why Yeshua, who the world calls Jesus, is not respected in this world, is because of these people who people call leaders, who people have exalted as the example of Christ, when actually they are the enemies of the cross. Because what they paint to the world is not who Christ is. You won't believe the stuff that's been sent to me this week of what some of the things that the so-called Christian church is doing here in America. The things that they're promoting. I can go on and on with it. But I don't have to, because you already know it. It's in your church. It's in your community. It's in your family. And so many of our people, thinking they done got some knowledge and some revelation on some things, have walked away from the Bible and walked away from Christ, not because the Bible is wrong, not because people that are following Christ are wrong, but because they're looking to the enemies of the cross as examples. You understand? And that's the problem. And you're going to notice, and I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but what's making it worse is that not only are these so-called fake Christians out here doing this mess, but the ones who are real are not holding them accountable. And that's what makes it worse. And we're going to address that later on in the precepts, later on in the lesson, so stay with us. But look at verse 19.
whose end is destruction,
Uh-huh.
whose God is their belly.
Who God is their what?
Whose God is their belly, and whose glory is in their shame. Who mind earthly things.
That's what their mind is on, earthly things. The next thing I can get, the next car I can get, the next woman I can get, the next jewels I can get, the next job I can get. You understand? But he said that, read that first part again. He said that God is their what?
Whose God is their belly.
Who God is their belly. That means that hunger and covetousness and greed is the only thing that's pushing them. That's what they serve. You understand? Now, let's go over Revelation 3. Like I said, I don't want to get bogged down in the foundation scripture today because we got to get into this meat. So I'm just setting the foundation. And for those who are just coming on today, today's lesson is entitled, When is Enough Going to Be Enough? Now check this out, Revelation 3. Let's start there at verse 15.
I know thy works, that thou art neither cold nor hot. I would thou wert cold or hot.
Now, notice here Christ saying, I know your works. And I'm gonna use the word we here because there was a point in time when I was guilty of this. I'm just gonna be honest. I'm gonna put myself out here in this. You understand? There's a lot of us who go out of their way to make everybody around them know what it is that they're doing. Right? But we also go out of our way to make sure that the things that are wrong, nobody knows about. But the problem with that is that the Most High knows it all. Right? So a lot of us spend all of our time and effort trying to look holy, trying to look righteous, trying to look Christian, whatever we call it, right? But actually, instead of actually being what Christ called us to be. That's the real issue. So Christ put it out there. He said, what in verse 15?
I know thy works.
I know your works.
That thou art neither cold nor hot.
Cold or hot. So Christ said, listen, when he's talking to this particular group, he's saying, I know the fact that you're not hot for me, which means that you're not fully committed to me, and you're not even just living completely in the world and just completely outside of me altogether. Then he said, I wish what?
Thou wert cold or hot.
He said, I would rather you be all the way in the world, all the way ungodly, all the way outside of the Bible, outside of the church, fornicating, homosexual, drunken, alcohol, whatever the case may be. I would rather you be that than in the middle. And ladies and gentlemen, the majority of the people today who call themselves Christians are in the middle. You understand? The only thing about them that is in representation of Christ is the rituals that they do on Sunday morning. It is the holidays that they keep. That is the only thing that speaks of Christ. Their lifestyle, their words, their life choices, what they do, what they work, how they live, none of it is in here. You understand? And the sad part is, ladies and gentlemen, that they don't see anything wrong with that. Because Christianity said grace covers it all. Who am I to judge? Let me put this out here about this whole judge thing. Ladies and gentlemen, when you go over to Matthew the 7th chapter, it says, judge not so, yes, you be judged. That is talking about people who are outside of the truth. You understand? So what this means is, this young girl who has 4 children by 4 different daddies, who have no idea of Christ, who've never been in the church, who've never been taught the things of the Bible, I am not to judge her because she doesn't know Christ. She hasn't been presented the truth. This young man is walking around with his pants all down and cussing and being vulgar. I'm not to judge him because he has not been presented the truth. But if you're going to church every Sunday, if you're sitting on Facebook and social media every day, putting out to the world, posting Bible verses, somebody, I am a Christian T-shirt you got on your bumper stickers, then now, you understand? I have a right, as the Bible is concerned, to judge your actions and your deeds. But this is what has happened in the world. We flipped that thing all the way around. Whether we judge the people outside of Christ, right? And then, but the people that are in the church, we let their sins go on and we don't say nothing. You know why? Because if I say something about yours, you're gonna say something about mine. So we'll take the approach. We're not gonna say anything. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why your church is telling you that the law is done away with. Because if we start bringing that law out in the church, everybody's guilty. And then that's what that does ultimately. Now it takes all the attention off of the people and it puts it back on Christ. Now Christ is the example. But because no law, nothing to hold nobody accountable for, you over there sinning, you sinning, what can I say? But that's why today's lesson is entitled, when is enough going to be enough? Verse 16.
So then, because thou art lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth.
I will spew thee out of my mouth. Ladies and gentlemen, the world may be acceptable with people with one foot in the church, one foot out. But Christ is not. This is why I keep telling you. Shabbat shalom, Ak. Good seeing you on with us this morning. This is why we stress to you over and over that you must know the difference between the Jesus of Christianity and the Yeshua, the Christ, who the world know to be Jesus, of the Bible. They're two totally different guys. You understand? So Christ, read that for him again.
So then, because thou art lukewarm, neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth.
And that sounds crazy for church folks. That Christ would rather you be ungodly than to have one foot in, one foot out. But that's the truth. Christ will have more mercy on that prostitute, on that drug dealer, on that drug addict, on that homosexual that's outside of the church that he's going to have against you or me in the church, walking around with a Bible and doing all the same things that they're doing. You understand? Verse 17.
Because thou sayest, I am rich and increase with goods and have need of nothing, and knowest not that thou art wretched and miserable and poor and blind and naked.
And this is what is going on with our people. Now let's bring it back to us, the so-called black men, the so-called African American men. When I grew up, and I remember the few times we were those guys, so let's just put it out there, we were that family that went to church Christmas, Easter, revival time, homecoming. We were that family. Let's just put it out there, okay? All right? And my grandmother, both of my grandmothers were heavy in church, so there were some Sundays that they would come and get us and whatever. We would go to church with them, whatever. And I just remember as a child, just remembering how it seemed like all you heard about, all you could see in the church was just love, just unity and family oriented, just everybody together. You understand? And I remember talking to one of the elders there. He was talking about, he said, the reason why we're this way, and he said it jokingly, he said, because we had to depend on each other. Nobody had nothing. You understand? And I can remember that. I can remember when we was younger, our next door neighbor could come over and say, yo, man, I'm cooking spaghetti, but I only got a little bit of ground beef. You got some ground beef to spare? You got some noodles? You got something like that? And people just give. And they would go back, vice versa, and people just gave, and people were sick, and people would go take care of the person. A man was down and out, he would go help out, people go bring money. All these different things that you see, that you used to see, that you don't really hardly ever see anymore. But ladies and gentlemen, what happened to our people is the so-called civil rights movement. What Satan did was he said, listen, check this out. Right? I'm going to give you some education. I'm going to give you affirmative action. And I'm going to pass a couple of laws. And we're going to bring you from your side of the tracks to ours. Right? We're going to give you from these ragged schools and we're going to bring you to the prestigious universities of ours. Because I want you to go out there and run that football for me. I want you to go out there and make me some jump shots. You understand? I want you to go and bring up our level of intellectuals so we can rob you of everything that you have and make it seem like it's ours. Right? So they took people out, gave a couple of people some cash, right? And now everybody is chasing the cash and the career and the education, and our people put this down. And made it seem as if anybody that's still carrying on to the Bible is still stuck in the old ways and they just country and they don't know no better. But this is the modern world now. You got to have an education to make it now. Right? Now read that for him again, verse 18. Verse 17.
Because thou said, I am rich.
Because you say that you're rich.
And increase with goods.
You got mad goods now. You got 2 or 3 cars in the yard. You got a good old house. You stay home with both parents. And your parents got a real good marriage. You know?
And have need of nothing.
You have need of nothing. We got the money in the bank. We're taking vacations. All is good, but
thou art wretched.
Wretched.
And miserable.
Miserable.
And poor.
Poor.
And blind.
Blind.
And naked.
And naked. That's what Christ thinks of you. So all of our people down at the bar in all these mega churches and sitting around all day talking about some, get money, name it, claim it, go get it, it's yours. And now that Satan done gave it to him, and you believe that Christ gave it to you, you believe that God gave it to you, this is what Christ is saying about our people the whole time. You understand? Now don't misunderstand me. There's plenty of people, of our people, who are walking in the things of the Bible, who are very successful. But think about the majority of the people that you know. Think about the majority of the people that you see on TV, that you follow on social media, that got money. Are they living this? Think about the most successful pastors in this country, of our people. Are they preaching this? Verse 19? Verse 18, excuse me.
I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that thou mayest be rich, and white raiment, that thou mayest be clothed, and that the shame of thy nakedness do not appear, and then anoint thy eyes with eye salve, that thou mayest see.
That's the only way, ladies and gentlemen. That's the only way it's going to work. That you must denounce the Jesus of Christianity. You must come to the Christ of the Bible. Because the Jesus of Christianity tell you, yo, you got a big car, you got a big house, you got money. You're rich. You're blessed and highly favored. Christ said you're wretched, miserable, poor, naked, and blind. Are we reading from the book of Lavender?
No.
The book of J? Today's lesson is entitled, When is Enough Going to Be Enough? Now let's get into the meat. Let's go to Isaiah, the first chapter. We're going to start out, ladies and gentlemen, addressing the things that are dealing with our family, our people, our community, the way we see ourselves and the way we're carrying ourselves out on a daily basis in this world. And for those who are joining us for the first time today, we've got to bring some things out here in this precept. And I'm just going to go ahead and forewarn you. It's going to be uncomfortable for some of you. But notice that everything we're going to say is out of the Bible. You understand? So stay with us. Stay with us. Isaiah, the first chapter. I'm trying to go get it in. Isaiah, the first chapter. Let's start at verse 2.
Hear, O heavens, and give ear. O earth, for the Lord has spoken. I have nourished and brought up children, and they have rebelled against me.
Now, you have to understand, ladies and gentlemen, what's different from today is that back in biblical times when you had the nation of Israel, our people, there was the only nation that was submitted to the Most High God. You understand? So this is what gave the Most High a presence on the earth. It's because the nation of Israel was submitted to him, followed his law, statutes, commandments, and his prophets proclaimed his truth and his glory amongst the world. So when the Most High needed something put out there for the whole earth, he would use the prophets to stand and proclaim it. But the word many times just wasn't for the nation of Israel, it was for the whole earth. You understand? So Isaiah was putting this out there. He said, hear what?
Hear, O heavens.
That's for the angels. That's for all the angelic creatures, beings that are assigned to do work in this earth realm. So he wanted them to know.
And give ear, O earth.
Then he wanted the inhabitants, all the people of the earth, men and women.
For the Lord has spoken.
Now, who has spoken?
The Lord has spoken.
I
have nourished and brought up children, and they have rebelled against me.
Now, so he's saying, I have a particular people that I have nourished and I have brought up, but those people rebelled against me. Verse 3.
The ox knoweth his owner.
The ox knows his owner.
And the donkey his master's crib.
The donkey knows his master.
But Israel does not know. My people do not consider.
But Israel don't know. Right now, in this world, Israel is calling themselves black. Right now in this world, Israel is calling themselves African American. Right now, Israel in this world is calling them Mexican, calling themselves Puerto Rican, calling themselves Indians, calling themselves Latinos, calling themselves Africans. You understand? The donkey knows his master. The ox know who he belongs to. But Israel have no idea who they are. Jay, go to Jeremiah 17. You don't have to go there. Stay right there where you at. We're just going to give you this precept so you can see this. Jeremiah 17 and read verse 4 and 5 there. No, excuse me. Read verse 3 and 4.
O my mountains in the field, I will give thy substance and all thy treasures to the spoil, and thy high places for sin throughout all thy borders.
That's right.
And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thy heritage.
They're going to discontinue from what?
Discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thy enemies in the land which thou knowest not.
You see that? This is why Israel don't know who they are. Because our forefathers and our ancestors sinned. They stopped breaking the law. They forgot the statutes and commandments. And the Most High took our heritage away from us. But in Hosea, the 6th chapter, verse 2, he says, in 2 days I shall revive you, and third day I shall raise you up. This is why right now you're seeing all over the world, our people are waking up that who we are, that we're not black, that we're not African American, that we're from the tribe of Judah, from the nation of Israel. And when you go to Zechariah, the 12th chapter, verse 7, he says, I shall raise the tents of Judah first. So that's why, predominantly, you're seeing mostly us, the so-called black men, the so-called African-American man who was awakened. Because the Most High had to raise the kings back first. Because when the kings are in order, when the kings are in place, when the kings are in position, everyone else will follow. So ladies and gentlemen, you're not black. You're not an African American. You're from the tribe of Judah, from the nation of Israel. Verse 4.
A sinful nation, a people laden with iniquity,
Uh-huh.
a seed of evildoers, children that are corrupters, they have forsaken the Lord. They have provoked the Holy One of Israel unto anger. They have gone away backwards.
They have gone away backwards. Now, even in this country now, when our people first came over here, don't believe the hype of the history books that they tell you. We wasn't no brute and savages that came over here. We knew exactly who we were when we first came over here. You understand? But what happened was, the Nat Turners of the world were killed. You understand? The rest of them beaten to submission and re-educated. Now you believe you're the cursed seed of Ham. Now you believe that you're a Baptist. Now you believe that you're a Zion. Now you believe that you are a holiness. Now some of you believe that you're Egyptologists. Now some of you believe that you're Pan-African. Now some of you believe that you're a Muslim. When prior to this, none of our people believed in this stuff. You understand? But this is where we are today. Verse 5.
Why should ye be stricken anymore? You will revolt more and more.
That's why we continue to be stricken. He's asking them, why would you allow yourself to continue to go through this? You know why? Because you will rebel more and more. You understand? See, some of you today that's on this lesson, this may be the first time you ever heard this. But there are many of you who've heard it several times. And you're still living the same way that you live. Rejected. Because many of our people don't want to change. They know that Christianity is a lie. They know what their church is telling them is not adding up with this. But because it's comfortable, and because everybody else is doing it, they will continue in it. People don't want to change. They don't want to make the hard choices in their life. And they just remain thinking that Jesus is going to accept me anyway. The Jesus of Christianity don't got no heaven to put you in, homeboy. Just put it out there. That's why we started in John the 10th chapter for you to see. Verse 6. Yeah, if we're finished reading on verse 5.
You will revolt more.